good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are joining us from. We're very excited to be here to talk more with you about the Community Collaboration Challenge info session. I do want to note that we are recording today's info session. We will be posting it and we'll be sharing it out along with the slides that we'll be using to share a little bit more about this opportunity. My name is Jen Lopiccolo. I'm the Director of School and District Partnerships for the Partnership for Student Success, and I'm joined by my two colleagues, Dorothy.
Thanks, Jen. I'm Dorothy Jones. I'm the Director of Corporate, State, and Local Partnerships for the Partnership for Student Success. Really excited to have so many folks on today, really wanting to learn about the Community Collaboration Challenge. Kate, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Dorothy and Jen. My name is Kate Cochran, Managing Director of the Partnership for Student Success. I'm really excited for this session and that there's so much interest in this year's challenge.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Kate. And again, so excited. And if you go to the next slide, you likely already have this information, but this is our drum roll to announce that, in fact, the application is live and it will be live through January 16th, 5 p.m. Eastern. And we look forward to receiving your application. Before we go any further, however, we want to talk a little bit and provide some context for those of you who might be new to the Partnership for Student Success. And I think this will help sort of level set for anyone who is new to our organization or kind of thinks that they know about our work and what our mission and vision is focused on. But again, I think this will only help strengthen your applications and ultimately strengthen the high quality projects we're able to award. And so as you see here, we are a coalition. Many of you are likely part of that coalition. If you are not, we welcome you to be. And we are a coalition of nonprofits, higher ed institutions, school districts, and more working to really truly enable our students to get the evidence-based supports they need. And we really are looking to connect all students with comprehensive, evidence-based, people-powered supports, really focused around these key target roles, which is thinking about academic tutors, thinking about mentors of all kinds, all ages, post-secondary advisors, post-secondary transition coaches, success coaches, and wraparound supports. So we are truly excited to be able to have the Community Collaboration Challenge as yet another vehicle to award the great work that is happening and the great work that we know many of you will be able to extend and do more of through this opportunity and through your catalyzing collaboration that we hope that this will really spearhead. So thinking about this, I want to just very quickly talk a little bit about what this is, sort of voice over what you likely read on the website. But again, we're so thankful to the Leon Lowenstein Foundation, which in fact is funding this opportunity to truly think about how we at PSS might support pilots or scaling of evidence-based K-12 student supports. Again, thinking about those particular PSS aligned roles. So in your work, or as you think about work that you are interested in expanding on or potentially piloting something new, what would it look like for you to advance the work of tutors, mentors, success coaches, wraparound integrated student supports, post-secondary transition coaches right in your community? And we're excited to be able to do this across the country again. We really are focused on your collaboration, your ability to create catalyzing collaboration for the K-12 students in your community. So we are very interested in looking at and excited to receive applications that are designed to not just grow scaling the work that you do, but really thinking about how that will in fact impact more students and ultimately really embrace and increase the quality of supports being offered, whether those are supports you're offering as an organization, whether you're a K-12 school district looking to partner with multiple partners and want to really make sure that those partners are providing high quality evidence-based supports. We're really excited to really think about that local collaboration and play a small role in the work you're doing. And what we mean by that is these are awards that really simply range from $5,000 to $10,000. The really, truly, the amounts typically based on the scale and scope of the activities. So as you think about the application, there's a question that asks you, how much are you looking for? And then it also asks you to tell us a little bit more about what you intend to do or how many students potentially will be impacted, et cetera. For this particular challenge, we are looking to invite applications through January. We will be looking to announce the awardees in February and invite people to begin those those deliverables as soon as possible. And then we are looking for them to be completed no later than October 2026. So we're very fortunate and very excited to be able to really extend the timeline a little bit more than maybe we have been able to in the past, but we will have a hard stop and we will insist that deliverables be completed no later than October 2026. This is an award program that is through payment to the awardees, and we're able to do this upon completing a vendor registration in the JHU third-party payee system. This is for the awardees announced only, but once you have that set up and once we're able to meet on the scope of work, likely the payments will typically run, and this is approximate, along this calendar of March, a June, September payment cycle. We get that question a lot, so we thought we would put that in. And I think we have another slide of good information. Yes, perfect. But I'm going to turn it over to Dorothy to say a little bit more about this. And
Awesome.
anything I forgot, Dorothy.
No, you did great. Thank you for sharing all of that information. As Jen mentioned, this is our fourth year doing the challenge, and every year we do focus a little bit more on a few different things. And so this year you will get bonus points for either providing kind of an example or focusing your application around career connected or work-based learning experiences. Or if you are engaging high school students in PSS aligned roles, supporting their peers. And so you will get up to 2 points for either of those two things. And then you'll also get an additional up to 2 points for any matching funds from other sources that will be used to support the efforts outlined in the application. So I did want to flag those additional opportunities. And it's very possible that you might get selected even if you don't have one or the other of these two focuses. We have seen that previously, but it's just another opportunity we wanted to share with you. And Jen, I'll turn it over to you for some examples.
Right. So we thought this would help bring it to life, and we'll be putting in the chat. Every award cycle that we've been fortunate to provide has come also with an outcomes report. So perhaps you are a previous awardee and you're joining us today, and you'll see in the outcomes report a little bit more information. But just to give you some bite-sized examples, and again, we encourage you to go to those outcomes reports, read about the different things, the different projects, the different scopes of work that we have awarded, to give you a flavor, a taste of what we're looking for. So, for example, perhaps you're a K-12 school district and you are interested in improving chronic absenteeism, or more importantly, wanting to expand, or as important really, expand the mentoring opportunities to all students. Whatever it is that is your focus area and the need that you're trying to address, we invite, for example, New York District 26 sort of combined those efforts, took a very targeted approach, and in turn partnered with higher ed institution to do some summer piloting that they then use that pilot to base their school year mentoring and to base continued efforts to partner with additional higher ed institutions in their community. So that's a very exciting opportunity. Another example, as you think about if you're, mentoring opportunities or more broadly just partnership, the Bay Area Tutoring hosted the first of its kind in its area, a catalyzing convening. So they really started by thinking about we have all these tutoring providers, we have all these organizations who are, in fact, school districts included, who are looking to expand tutoring. We want to make sure that that tutoring that's expanded is high impact. There are very clear guidelines about what high impact tutoring looks like. There's even a badge for those organizations that are doing strong evidence-based high impact tutoring. But they wanted in the Bay Area to really bring all of those providers together and really promote quality, but also promote resource sharing. And so the catalyzing event took place during National Tutoring Week 2 award seasons ago, and we were able to support that. Girls Inc. of Chicago is another example that is a local nonprofit. It's an affiliate of a national one. So perhaps you're an affiliate and you're like, can I apply? And the answer is yes. Can more than one affiliate apply of a national organization? The answer is yes. But in Girls Inc.'s case, they used this money to really target an opportunity during spring break to offer near peer mentoring to eighth grade girls that were preparing to transition to high school with some of their teen leaders in their Girls Inc. programming that then worked with those young eighth grader girls to help them feel more secure, more ready, more confident, and just feel empowered to be the great humans they are and be ready to start high school. Victoria College is another example that piloted intensive supports to their local high school students that were taking dual credit courses. So they doubled down on this dual credit. And this was a pilot. They had not done something like this. And since then, it has really fueled a whole nother viable way of supporting their high school students in their community by utilizing Victoria College college students, as those tutors and success coaches to ensure that the high school students are successful in their dual credit coursework. So as you can see, it really runs the gamut. I could have had 4 more slides here with four very unique slides with many more examples that are unique. But you're starting to probably see and get a taste of sort of the ideas that have been successful in our application process.
Thanks, Jen. Okay, I'm going to cover a little bit about what we will offer to the awardees and how we're able to support you. So one is the funding piece, awards of anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000, depending on the project, to convene, expand, or to pilot evidence-based PSS supports that are aligned with our student support area. So one or more of our areas, tutoring, mentoring, student success coaching, wraparound integrated student supports, or post-secondary transition coaching. In terms of guidance, we do a cohort model here. So we will facilitate some virtual sessions with other awardees, allow you the opportunity to connect with others doing similar work or learn about each other's projects. Jen or I will also meet with each awardee at the start of the session to talk through the different projects, answer questions, maybe help offer some sort of guidance, also help connect with technical assistance if necessary, different resources that we might have for you, as well as access to some of the networks that we have to support whatever the project that you're working on. And then also we have an event toolkit that we had created when we first kicked these Community Collaboration Challenge awards off, when our focus was specifically on convening and bringing together different stakeholders within communities. We've grown from just the convenings to the expansions and the pilots, but we're still offering that type of toolkit and support for you all. And then also access to networks. So we would invite you to join as a supporting champion. Supporting champions just get an array of different communications from us, a monthly call as well, where we share out resources, events, share out each other's different resources and happenings with different organizations as well. So we would definitely invite you to join as a supporting champion. But you'll also have access to a lot of this information as a lot of our past awardees are also included in these full coalition lists. So, and then we also just invite you to sign up for our newsletter too, if you're just looking for kind of more information about some of the other stuff that we and our partners are doing. What we are asking, so in terms of the deliverables, we ask that you complete your deliverables by October 30th, 2026, and whether that's the programming, the convening, again, that expansion, whatever that looks like, ask that it's completed by October 30th of 2026, as well as the deliverables piece. So we're asking that every awardee has some sort of tangible learnings they can share, that we can share out with others within the network, so that the learnings that happened within your project, within your scope of your work, can maybe help accelerate and support other work across the country. And if you look to our last outcomes report, you'll see some linked deliverables in there if you're looking kind of for an idea of what that might look like. But if you're thinking about it, just think about what could help others do similar work in another part of the country. And then we do ask that you participate in 2 virtual meetings, the kickoff and the wrap up. Our wrap up last year was really exciting. We just did a share out from every organization about the projects and about what was going on, and just the excitement was just really wonderful to see. And so we're excited for that. And then again, that one-on-one check-in via Zoom with a staff member, typically either me or Jen, where we can talk more one-on-one specifically about your work and what it is that you're trying to accomplish and how can we best support you. And then just, sharing information with us on your progress, your events, your lessons learned, whatever barriers or opportunities you might have. I think communication is one of the most important things when it comes to the awardees and the team here. We're really flexible and we want to support you as best as we can, but we do need a lot of communication, not a lot, but enough communication to know that you're on track and that we can help you in any way that we can. I do want to cover just a few kind of top frequently asked questions. We have a whole list of FAQs on the website. That one has been updated over the years. We will also update it following this call with some of the questions that come in through the chat. Maybe we're not able to get to, or if we see multiple questions that we haven't addressed, we will make sure to add those and update those. So definitely keep those questions coming. But one that I do see in the Q&A and is asked a lot is can this funding be used for an expansion of the scope of a currently implemented strategies? The answer is yes. It is both for pilots and for expansions to support those efforts. And when you're thinking about expansions, think kind of about we maybe you piloted something small in one classroom and you need support expanding it throughout the entire school, or you need support expanding it to another district or whatever that might look like, another school. So that's a big one. Yes, pilots, expansions, and convenings. All 3 of those are eligible. And does the program have to partner with a school or a school district to be eligible? The answer is no. There is not a required partnership with a school or a school district, but we are looking for coordinated community efforts. So again, we're the Partnership for Student Success. We are looking to bring together stakeholders to help overcome challenges, share resources, utilize each other's supports. And so a stronger application will have some of that, diverse group of community stakeholders. But you do not have to have a school or a school district as a partner to be eligible. And then folks often ask about the limitations of the use of the funding. And so as you can see, there's really a wide array of what you can use the funding for. One of the best things about this funding that we've heard from others is that it's really not that limited. There's a lot of other funding that's out there is very limited in what can be used. Ours is pretty flexible. And so the things that you cannot use it on are like the purchase of alcohol, first or business class travel, any sort of influence on legislation or a public election, um, anything like that. But in general, the funding is pretty flexible. If you have specific questions, we're also offering, an office hours in January where we can kind of just answer some of those more specifically. But the funding is quite flexible. Few more questions. This is another one that comes through quite a bit is kind of about how many applications can you submit. And so if you have a national organization that has multiple sites, multiple affiliates that are interested in applying, can more than one apply? Absolutely. Can one organization submit more than one application? As long as they're different, if it's not the exact same application on multiple sites, yes. But we do want to flag that it is highly unlikely that a single organization will receive more than one award. Last year we had 250 applications. This year we're expecting more than that. And so we do want to get that diversity of the projects that are happening and of the regions and things like that. And so it's unlikely. It is possible. It's definitely possible. But think about that as you're submitting your applications. If you have a few, really strong ones, go for it. Absolutely. Most likely it's going to be, one or the other. And I do want to pause for some questions now. I know Kate has been answering some already in the Q&A function, but are there others that are rising up for you, Jen?
I think so. Definitely, rather. I think we can answer some more, rather. So one is about like, do the projects have to directly support K-12 students, or may it be indirect? For example, something related to a division of education at a college or university providing training and support to mentor teachers, who are then, of course, mentoring college students in the classroom, which then has a positive impact on K-12 student learning. So I want to just clarify, like, indirect versus direct support to K-12 is very possible, but it would have to be linked to K-12 supports directly. So while you might, for example, we had one awardee that was trying to bring its stakeholders together in across its state university system to really build upon career connected learning opportunities and like come together internally so that they could then better promote career connected learning across their state and really identify ways that these elevated student supports could be career connected and linked to work-based learning, particularly for those who are providing the support. And that was a really interesting way to utilize. So it wasn't that they were actually using the funds to directly support K-12, but had a direct impact. Another one that came in was, can funds be used to pay staff supporting students for their time in a mentoring, coaching, tutoring role? And so the answer is yes. As you saw previously, what's allowed is pretty broad. I mean, I think that is the gift, that is the challenge award, that there is a lot of latitude around what you can fund with the award. I think the key, though, to standing out in the award process is thinking about innovative ways or through a pilot that you're testing some of the opportunities. Like, does it do our near peers, when they are paid, like, are we seeing this as an additional recruitment strategy to bring them to this role and in turn build their leadership capacity, in which case paying them might be a neat way to use the funds. If it's something, a core program element that you do always pay support those in the support roles, and you utilize this money to pay for that, there's a sustainability question there, and not necessarily one that would, this is a small award that will go away after a year. And so it would have to be something that's new or innovative or something that you're testing to really, I think, stand out in the process. Dorothy, how do you feel about those two responses? Anything you want to add?
I think that's great. I
Okay.
think that
Okay.
we get that question about paying staff and a lot, and so that's a great way to
Or
distinguish
you're
it.
pi Yeah, or you're
Hmm.
piloting something. You need to
Yeah.
pay a staff member to like a piloting a near peer effort, and you need to pay a staff member to advise those young people, right? You want to think about quality. So it's not though as though you're just utilizing near peers, but you've got to have like support systems for those near peers. So, and you're piloting something, and you want to pay someone to do that. That seems like something that would stand out. Um,
Jen, can
and I
I
Please.
sorry, I see in here a question about when the funds are awarded. I think you mentioned it. Can you highlight it one more time for me?
We put a tentative timeline out there in the slides, but typically we do. JHU prefers to do a three payment award system. So something towards the beginning of the award cycle, something in the midpoint upon meeting certain deliverables that you'll sketch out and we'll agree on in a scope of work that's based on the project application. So you'll likely meet with either Dorothy or myself to make those sort of, this is what the scope's going to look like. And then we can utilize that to sort of trigger the payment system to award something in March, award something in June, and then closer to the end. But it is really it doesn't operate necessarily on like, I need this money in June, therefore I need you to pay me in May. It's more standardized than that. And so even thinking about this as a reimbursement process is possibly a better way to think about the budgeting element of this. What do you think, Dorothy?
Yeah, that's helpful.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, knowing the payment schedule is important, definitely,
Yeah.
for a lot of organizations, especially smaller ones. I saw another question. Oh, I saw somebody ask about whether past winners can apply. Yes.
Mhm.
Nothing precludes you from um, being awarded again if you're a past winner. Um, yeah, we welcome it. What do you see, Jen?
Another one about national nonprofit. Should we submit multiple, one for each place, or something that's like one application for three of their sort of places? And I think Dorothy already named this earlier, but it is really up to you as you think about like the cohesiveness of what's happening across those. You might want to target one and get more ROI in one community. Or you could submit. It's totally allowed to submit three separate. It's really, though, as Dorothy said, we wish we had so many more funds to distribute through this award program, but we do think about diversity in scope and geography in organizations. So we have not typically awarded more than one to any one national organization in a cycle, if that helps.
Can we define what a
Yes.
connector event is one more time? You want to do that one, Jen?
Oh, sure. And then I've got another good one here
Okay,
too.
great.
The connector events we call them that because we call them catalyzing, we call them connector events. The idea is that there's a need in your community to bring people together. Maybe you operate more in a siloed approach. Maybe each organization has been really focused on its own goals and missions, when in reality, everyone in your community is somehow touching the mentoring. There's a lot of organizations touching, for example, the mentoring space. A connector event is designed to bring them together. Or maybe you're offering different post-secondary transition opportunities that might also include some sort of work-based learning opportunities, and you host a connector event as part of your broader scope of work that you're applying for, and you could use this. It really is about who and what needs to be connected in your community. But the idea is, of course, based around these evidence-based supports. What do you think, Dorothy?
Wonderful.
Make sense? The
Hmm.
other question I saw was, can the funding be used to pilot or increase career connected or work-based experiences for our mentors themselves? Yes, that's actually I think our intent is that it's either for the people actually implementing the student supports, that there's an actual pathway for them to experience some sort of career connected learning in their role as said mentor. That it would be very interesting to us.
Good question about like, is there a benefit to a particular organization applying? Let me see if I can find that one again. Since the strategy should focus on coordinated community effort, how do you recommend we determine which stakeholders should submit the application? Um, we're stakeholder agnostic. As long as you are qualified, nonprofit, institution of higher education, school district, state, local agency, you're eligible to apply. It's really more about the project than it is about the organization that applies.
Um, Can it be used for stipends towards transportation? We do know that the transportation is often a barrier to providing student, evidence-based supports. And yeah, there's no constraints on that. If you have a vehicle to actually purchase those Uber or Lyft transportation through your organization or the fiscal partner, if there is one, then it's important, a separate one, then it works for us. And we have seen that. We have seen that different awards to help people overcome barriers or challenges to receiving those supports is how some of the awards are used. Uh, Also, can the project, if it's for expansion, be in process, or does it need to begin in March and then end in October or whatever? And the answer is it can be in process for sure. You would want to explain what's unique about this expansion effort during this sort of particular scope of work, that it's timely for these awards to be infused. Oh, evidence-based. Is there a recommendation of how we demonstrate the evidence that supports our ideas? We talk a lot about high quality evidence-based people-powered supports at PSS. That's our focus. We actually do have some quality standards on our website. If that would be helpful to think about, like, is the tutoring that we're offering high impact? Is the mentoring utilizing sound research and practices as you think about the operations of that mentoring opportunity. And so I will quickly grab those and make sure we put those in the chat. And I believe they're in the FAQ already.
Okay.
What do you see, Dorothy?
Another question, are fiscally sponsored organizations eligible to apply? Again, 501c3 eligible to apply. Can we use the money to pay a for-profit public benefit tech service that connects our students to peer mentors? Again, it is an allowable expense. If your entire submission is just to pay a for-profit organization for something like this, it likely won't get chosen. There's going to probably be others that are going to be more appealing to the judges and to the reviewers of the applications. But if it is a portion of your application, absolutely fine. Just a recommendation to make it a part of a broader submission. Can a district apply on its own using their own students as tutors? Yes, yes, yep, absolutely. And what else do you see? I'm going through
Professional development for the staff that's offering the evidence-based support, I think, is definitely, particularly for a moment in time, right? We're in a moment in time. So thinking about just, it's about how you write about how that professional development sort of fits into what you're attempting to scale or pilot. Or, for example, we had a foundation in Iowa apply for some chronic absence training for its regional districts. And so they were the vehicle by which a lot of the attendance, folks in charge of attendance for the districts and/or schools came together, and they were able to offer this unique training and use this opportunity to support some of the training expenses.
Going to take a couple of them in a row right now, Jen. So one is, can schools that have unique models apply, or are you all just looking for projects? Unique models are great, but again, a pilot or an expansion or a convening is what we're looking for. So if it is just an application to fund current work, it likely won't qualify. And then the other one I saw, again, the maximum number, sorry, depending on your response to the question from the national nonprofit, what would be the maximum amount, the number the organization could apply for if it applies for multiple sites? Again, there is no maximum. You are welcome to submit as many different applications, different projects as you'd like. I would not suggest doing the same submission for multiple sites. But again, it's highly unlikely that more than one site or more than one award for that organization will be awarded. And so just keep that in mind. But there is no maximum. It is completely up to you.
Yep. Well said. There is a question about business administrative fee or indirect costs are allowed. You know, a lot of entities, larger institutions and larger organizations have like an indirect cost that they have to take from every award or every funding opportunity. So yes, those are allowed. And there is a max in the FAQ.
There's a
All
few questions
right.
about working with like first year college students and supporting them kind of in that kind of post-secondary transition piece. But again, we're focused on K-12 supports. And so the beneficiaries need to be the K-12 students for this year's award. It's good to see these questions come in because it does get us thinking about what the future might be, what folks might need for this year's award. The student supports K-12. Jen, what else do you see?
Kate's getting a lot of them.
Okay, great.
Yes, there might be more. And like we said, we'll be sure to comb over these and ensure that if they're not already in the FAQ, that we're able to more transportation questions, the answer's the same for all of them. Yes. Um, thanks, Kate.
Jen, what's the project budget requirement? I think there's a kind of a request in there, but not really too detailed, right?
No, I think after the awards have been awarded, we do ask a little bit more of the nuts and bolts around sort of how, what a more itemized sort of budget might look like. But we have really tried to make the application pretty streamlined. And so, you'll see that there's a question about how these funds will be used. And we do suggest that you get specific there. It really will help paint a picture for the reviewers, what and how these funds will be really used, and do they match what you are looking to achieve.
Thanks, Jen. I'm going to take three. I just see three kind of boom, boom, boom there that I can answer. So if a school district is applying, is collaboration with community partners required? Collaboration with community partners is not required. Even if you're a nonprofit applying, even if you're an institution of higher education. However, community partners do make an application more appealing. So just keep that in mind. The other one I saw can use the money to pay an administrative fee for our business office school to manage the grant funding. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Also kind of depends on what that fee is. If that fee is a majority of the award, if it's like half of it, um, that'll be a little bit more challenging. But
And
if
Dorothy,
it is.
our overhead limit is 15% on this.
15.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yep,
That's what it is. And I think that's in the FAQs.
it
Uh,
is. Yeah.
it is. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, there is, I want to just touch on this matching opportunity. So we did say in the beginning around, that there'll be points awarded to those who can identify matching support. And so I think, as you think about your your larger sort of opportunity with what you're working on, whether it's a pilot, a catalyzing event, expanding an innovative idea that you've learned through your, base programming, you'll want to think about in terms of matching. It can be in-kind contributions. It can also be like dollar for dollar value. So, wanted to just clarify that we are looking for you to be explicit about that in the application for the first time this year. So please think about like your broader budget for what you're working on, and um, what could be considered matching there is pretty broad.
There's a question that says, what's the commitment level after receiving funding? I'm not
Mm.
sure the capacity of my staff
Hmm.
for this program. So again, as Jen had mentioned, those 3 disbursements, there's going to be certain things that you're going to have to accomplish to receive that disbursement. We have had organizations not be able to complete their projects in the past, and they haven't received the full funding. So I think I would be hesitant to apply if you don't have the capacity or you don't have the partnerships to be able to fulfill on the commitments, especially when there's so many applications. But we have had it happen, and the full amount will not be dispersed. Jen, is there anything you add to that?
Um, I do think from like an award like PSS isn't asking a lot in terms of additional asks from what you put in your application, other than like come contribute, join us virtually twice for like about an hour, and share out what you've learned through deliverables. So I would also just say, and if you are thinking there's a lot of asks from us, I think it's relatively minimal, because we really want you to focus on the deliverables you've named in your scope of work. All right. I think
See some more questions about allowable expenses. Again, this funding is pretty flexible. There are few real limitations. If it's not limited, it's most likely not.
hmm And then per school site or funding go to the district, it's whoever the awardee, whoever's listed. So typically, um, in a K-12. No, I won't say typical, but in K-12, it's a budgeting question really for your district office. Do they have accounts that they would then administer and put this in for a specific school site? Or it would likely, I would guess that your district is your fiscal agent, so it would go directly to the district to administer. So it would be a question to your district office, I believe. Um, in terms of shared learning reports, um, can you share more about what these are? You'll see an impact report. You'll in on our website from the last 3 cycles. You'll also see that particularly the 2025, has linked different outcomes that people have shared with us, different sort of collateral resources, planning tools. It's really about what did we learn from this and how can we share that with the broader community, and whether that's, insights that you sort of list out in a publicly shared document, whether it's an actual tool or protocol you've used, whether it's more comprehensive like an actual toolkit. We welcome those deliverables. So it really just depends on the project and scope. but it has to be able to be publicly shared. So if there's, um, you know, sort of intellectual property rights of sorts in your organization, you can't share certain things. Don't include those in your application as things that you'll share.
I see a few questions that that relate to me. And so one is, would a project for a CBO piloting working with a subcontractor like a tutoring company be eligible to apply for the funding? Or we lost some of our funding. Could we utilize this funding to help fill that gap? Again, you're eligible to apply, absolutely. If your entire submission is around paying another organization to provide services to, or to pay your mentors or your tutors to provide those services, it doesn't necessarily, it's not as appealing in terms of a sustainable expansion or pilot. Because if you think the way that we focus on this and we think about it is when you're paying people to provide the services, it's a finite thing, right? Once the money runs out, there's no continuation. If there's a portion of this funding that you need to pay folks to give them stipends to whatever that might end up looking like, absolutely an allowable expense. If your entire submission is around paying another organization or paying, utilizing the funding to pay your tutors or your mentors or your post-secondary transition coaches, it will not be as appealing as some of the other submissions that come in. So just keep that in mind. There's a question about seeing all of the application questions. Yes, that's linked in the chat. It's linked on the website. There is a copy of that, and I have one I can just pop into the chat as well for you all.
Yeah,
it
thought
is
we put it in.
available.
Let's do it again.
Someone flagged that I forgot Florida.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry. Florida is eligible to apply. I will update that on the application. It's updated on the live version.
That might be a good segue, Dorothy, to what's next. So, as we've already said, applications are due on the 16th, 5 p.m. Eastern. We did mention just now that we put the application questions in the chat, but they're also online. And that's also because we use the document itself doesn't save and you can't go back to it. It's a pretty simple application. So I would encourage you to draft those responses and then post them into the form and just submit at that time. And as we said, awardees will be notified early February, and we'll do that with an email confirmation and be able to then really make sure that email box is looked at and is checked regularly. We don't want you to miss that because we will likely move on if we don't hear from someone. We'll have a very specific deadline. In the past, it's been around 5 business days or less that we need to hear back with some, yep, we accept and we're excited. And give us some information that we'll ask for, very basic. But again, make sure that you're accepting our email and can check that regularly. If you have questions, the email is there. And of course, we're going to do another one of these live in January, post-holiday season, before the deadline, but we'll also be doing an office hours. And this is really more for targeted, like I'm working on my application and I don't know the answer to this, or can you help, clarify this point for me. So that's designed to ask like very specific application questions, not like, is this allowed? Is this allowed? So the office hours is designed, again, just come prepared if you still have some outstanding things that we haven't been able to answer through email, though we hope that we will, or through the FAQ, which will be updated.
We want everybody to have access to this information. We'll post the video. We'll share the slides. We'll be hosting another webinar like this in early January, and then again, those office hours. If you are ready to apply, but maybe have one little question, and then you'd like us to answer, please join us for that as well. And again, that email as well. And just a huge thank you for everyone's interest. And we're really excited for this round. And we're excited to see so much engagement.